Disturbing sounds from above. Descriptive details from a witness at a Windsor murder trial. Charges upgraded after a fiery crash killed a husband and father of 3. And limiting liability.
You get to help them explore their palette of different beverages while keeping them safe.
Investing in self-pouring technology to prevent drinking and driving.
CTV News with Stefanie Masotti.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us both on CTV Windsor and AM 800. Some passionate voices today from council members and residents alike. CTV's Sanjay Maru was at today's council meeting, and Sanjay, some very tough decisions for city leaders today.
Stefanie, today's council meeting was the first with Joanne Geniak sitting in the chair of acting mayor since Drew Dilkins announced his cancer diagnosis. And this was quite the marathon meeting, extending from 10 in the morning and well into the afternoon. And that's because they were going over a number of hot button topics, from affordable housing to city safety to the fate of the Roseland Clubhouse. The first of 3 lengthy debates at City Council today focused on affordable housing, a consultant's report laying out the challenge.
Purchasing a home in Windsor-Essex is considered unaffordable for all households outside of those considered high income, with the exception of apartment dwellings.
A real estate executive argued the math does not work for developers.
It doesn't make sense for builders. There is no initiative, there is no benefit.
Councillor Kieran McKenzie moved to endorse recommendations in the report, from more purpose-built rentals to deeply affordable units and a wider mix of housing. But council stopped short, warning the city cannot shoulder the cost or responsibilities alone. Next, a proposal from downtown councillor Ronaldo Agostino for a good neighbor policy. It would spell out responsibilities for residents, businesses, and social service providers, with clear steps when issues arise, like discarded needles or people in distress. Pelissier Street resident Paul Sinnott says he lives in fear over what he sees outside his door.
Imagine waking up, lights, sirens bathing your living room at 1 o'clock, at 3 o'clock, at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I'm not talking on different nights. That's all happening in one night.
In the end, council voted to direct administration to develop a Good Neighbor program as part of the Housing and Homelessness Master Plan. And finally, the most contentious debate of the day, the future of the former clubhouse at Roseland Golf and Curling Club. At issue whether to move ahead with a $2.5 million demolition contract and a smaller new clubhouse, or tie the project to potential residential development on the site.
If you try and intermingle the business plan between one and the other, you put the golf course at risk.
In the end, council backed administration's recommendations, awarding the demolition contract to Sterling Ridge General Contracting and endorsing a new clubhouse vision with a smaller footprint, large patio, and streamlined food service. And due to the lengthy nature of today's meeting, we did not have time to show you all of the nuances in the debate of each of these 3 topics that we showed you in this story. You can find many more details on these topics on our website, ctvnewswindsor.ca. Stefanie.
Sanjay Maru covering City Hall for us tonight. Thank you, Sanjay. An update now to the police-involved shooting last week that has proven fatal. The SIU confirming the 58-year-old man involved in the shooting died on Saturday in hospital. On September 18th, police responded to calls from a man wanting to harm himself in the Stanley Street and Lillian Avenue area. The man was found in his backyard, where he pointed a firearm in their direction before fleeing inside the home. After negotiation attempts, he walked outside and pointed the firearm at police. 3 officers fired their guns, with at least 1 shot hitting the man. Ontario's police watchdog continues to probe the incident. Police have now updated the charges in a fatal crash from September 6th. 34-year-old Austin James Richard now faces a charge of dangerous driving causing death after another driver, Shane Prutchik, passed away from his injuries. The crash on September 6th left 6 people injured, 5 of them in one SUV. That was Prutchik, his wife Stefanie McDowell, as well as their 3 children, again all injured. Richard still faces a charge of dangerous driving causing bodily harm and leaving the scene of a collision. A 3-day police crackdown in Windsor's Glengarry neighborhood has led to 31 arrests and 39 criminal charges, including theft, break-and-enter, and probation violations. The targeted operation by Windsor Police and community partners ran from September 18th through the 20th. It aims to improve safety in the area, long plagued by crime and social challenges, and officers say it is part of a broader effort. Police say community outreach and health teams will remain on site to support residents. CTV meteorologist Gary Archibald joins me now for a first look at the weather. And Gary, the fall is here.
Fall is here, and the good news is that we're likely to still be slightly above seasonal. And despite the rain today, and a lot of people might be complaining about that, we need it, right? We're in a drought situation. It was breezy earlier today as well. The rains came in, I'd say around the 11 o'clock hour, and this stream, a good southwesterly flow, relatively milder air, is penetrating our airspace. It's here to stay, and that's why there's potential of some showers and thunderstorm activity tonight as I speak through the overnight into early Tuesday morning. I'll break down what you need to know as we look ahead, and I'm hopeful of this, that we have a sunny and beautiful first weekend of the fall season that's just a few days away.
A candidate in Windsor's Ward 2 by-election says campaign signs were allegedly stolen on 2 occasions. Sam Romano says both acts were caught on camera outside local businesses. The first incident happened early on September 9th outside an auto shop on Tecumseh Road West. 5 days later, a sign was allegedly stolen in broad daylight on Sandwich Street. Windsor police confirm they are investigating and do not have information at this time on whether other candidates reported similar incidents. 1 month away from Election Day, Romano says he feels the act specifically targeted his campaign. In other news, the jury deliberating in the inquest into the overdose death of a 21-year-old inmate at the Southwest Detention Center has just come back. Nathaniel Krug died in March of 2021 after taking fentanyl and a sedative sometimes used for insomnia. He had entered the jail just 9 days prior. His aunt, representing the family at the inquest, describing him as a sweet kid who loved nature, travel, and music, and said he was trying to turn his life around. We will have the recommendations from the jury tonight at 11 o'clock. Loud banging. In other news, the Ontario government is investing over $826,000 to help young workers kickstart careers in construction and manufacturing. This happening in Windsor. In partnership with IBEW Local 773, the funding will expand their job readiness program, giving young workers hands-on experience and safety certifications, including aerial platform training, first aid, and electrical basics before they even set foot on a job site. 48 young workers have already gone through the program. It's part of a broader $2.5 billion provincial plan to deliver better training, better jobs, and bigger paychecks across Ontario.
Having this announcement today helps to support that and helps to support our students getting a great paycheck and a great career ahead of them.
But what happens with the job readiness is it takes the burden off the union and off the contractor. The government takes care of the funding. We put these people through training. If they can't cut it, they don't make it through the program.
Last week, the Alcohol and Gaming Commission of Ontario recommended suspension of the liquor license of an East Windsor sports bar for 60 days following a fatal collision last year where the driver was alleged to have been overserved at that establishment. Community debate continues as to who is responsible once someone who has had too much to drink gets behind the wheel. The owner of a Detroit tap house says they use self-pour technology to ensure he and his employees are not held liable.
We check their ID, make sure they're over 21, and then we take their credit card, we'll insert their credit card for payment, give them their ID back, and then we attach them to a wristband.
This wristband operates on RFID technology.
It's like a radio frequency. So it's the way that the wristband talks to the scan technology, whether it's here, the soda machine, we can scan you at the cocktail bar, and we can also scan it at the kitchens.
After a brief set of instructions presented by wall ambassadors, you head to the self-pour tap wall, where there are 76 options to choose from.
You can just tap the screen right there. It's going to give you all the tasting notes. Grab a clean glass every time. Then you're going to take your wristband. You're going to put it right up here, and you're just going to hold it there for a second. Come over, and then you just simply pour. You see, I poured 2.6 ounces. This pour was $1.37. You can pour up to 32 ounces of beer or a beverage in the beer category, whether it's a cider, seltzer, or sour. You can pour up to 18 ounces of wine.
Once you've consumed all ounces, the wristband deactivates.
In the state of Michigan or any state in the United States, you have to be reactivated to make sure you're not intoxicated. So it's the state's way of saying that we are checking you to make sure that you're not over-serving yourself.
If you want more credits added to your wristband, you must have a conversation with one of the wall ambassadors.
You can tell the eyes are glossy. You can tell they're slurring a little bit. You can tell they're stumbling. You can tell they're swaying.
If the ambassador feels it's no longer safe to serve you,
they're going to say, hey, I'm not going to be able to reauthorize your wristband. I'm sorry. Thanks for coming in. We want you to go home the same way you came, and we want you to be safe.
There is one similar tap house that operates in Mississauga. Pour My Beer is one of 3 main companies that provides this technology. They say each tap costs between $700 and $1,000.
I think it would be a nice investment. One is you get to connect with customers and you get to know people in a different level. You get to help them explore their palette of different beverages while keeping them safe.
So here's our question of the day. Do you think self-pouring technology should be used in bars in Windsor-Essex and Chatham-Kent? Go to our website to cast your vote, ctvnewswindsor.ca. On Friday, we asked if you are excited to see the new lights on the Gordie Howe International Bridge. Out of almost 1,000 votes, 60% of respondents say yes. The science and skepticism as President Trump links Tylenol use to autism. That's still ahead on Windsor's News Leader. And later, Jimmy Kimmel is coming back, his controversial suspension over. And tomorrow, the future of dainty food in Windsor as the company eyes expansion possibilities. That's tomorrow at 6 on CTV News. Start your day with the latest local news. By signing up for our newsletter, you'll get direct local content straight from CTV Windsor to your inbox, including top stories, the forecast, and videos. You can sign up at ctvnewswindsor.ca. World leaders have gathered to mark the United Nations' 80th General Assembly. Wars in Ukraine and Gaza and the climate crisis are on the agenda. More than 150 countries, including Canada, have recognized the state of Palestine. It's a political decision that puts several G7 countries in conflict with Israel and the U.S. CTV's Judy Trin is at the United Nations.
As we meet, civilians are targeted and international law trampled in Gaza, the Ukraine, Sudan, and beyond.
As the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly opens, growing support for Palestinian statehood dominates the agenda. 3 G7 nations, Britain, France, and Canada, are recognizing the state of Palestine to apply political pressure to end the war in Gaza.
We have to push on this now because, as I say, the possibility in absolute violation of the UN Charter and in absolute violation of international law of self-determination for the Palestinian peoples is being erased.
Carney says Hamas would not have a role in governance. Instead, Canada, in a coordinated effort with like-minded countries, will work with the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank toward a 2-state solution for peace. That could also call for UN troops.
There are many proposals, as I suspect you're aware, from a variety of Arab states, combination of Arab states and European states, to which Canada would be party.
It has been nearly 2 years since the October 7th attacks, but Israel's prime minister has vowed not to stop the war until Hamas is eradicated.
The starvation and devastation are utterly intolerable.
It is not diplomacy. When Hamas is praising this conference and calling it the fruit of October 7th, we know it's a problem. 4
of the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council, Britain, France, Russia, and China, recognize Palestine, except for the United States.
He feels this does not do anything to release the hostages, which is the primary goal right now in Gaza, does nothing to end this conflict and bring this war to a close. And frankly, he believes it's a reward to Hamas.
U.S. President Donald Trump will make his stance clear when he speaks in front of the UN General Assembly on Tuesday. Right now, 150 nations recognize the state of Palestine, but the one country that has the most influence on Israel, the United States, does not. Judy Trin, CTV News, New York.
A new report is accusing Canada and other fossil fuel producing nations of derailing the world's chances of meeting targets needed to limit climate change. The report was compiled by Canada's International Institute for Sustainable Development, along with 2 other nonprofits. It says fossil fuel production levels 5 years from now are expected to be more than double the levels outlined in the 2015 Paris Agreement. The report suggests countries plan to release 120% more fossil fuels in the year 2030 than what is needed to keep global warming to 1.5 degrees. To Washington now, where President Trump is suggesting the cause of autism, but most scientific literature suggests there's no link. NBC's Melanie Zanona has more from Washington.
The president touting research from his administration during Charlie Kirk's memorial service.
I think we found an answer to autism, how it happens, so we won't let it happen anymore.
And telling reporters he believes the use of the painkiller acetaminophen during pregnancy increases risk of autism.
I think it's a very big factor.
Acetaminophen is the active ingredient in Tylenol. The company that makes Tylenol telling NBC News, "We believe independent sound science clearly shows that taking acetaminophen does not cause autism," adding that without the drug, pregnant women will either, quote, suffer through conditions like fever that are potentially harmful to both mom and baby, or use riskier alternatives. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the Secretary of Health and Human Services, has mentioned multiple theories about the cause of autism. He has alarmed experts by linking the disorder to vaccines. Medical organizations are endorsing the use of acetaminophen during pregnancy, and researchers have found it to be the safest option.
Study after study has actually shown that there's no causal link with Tylenol and pregnancy and autism.
The White House press secretary asked if today's new information could confuse mothers-to-be.
I think women for many years, in fact for decades, Ed, have been confused by the rapid increase in autism in this country.
Earlier this month, RFK Jr. appeared on Capitol Hill where he was grilled by senators about his vaccine policy and other health-related issues. RFK Jr. has been invited to come back and testify once again, but he has yet to confirm whether he will appear. Melanie Zanona, NBC News, Washington.
Today's news is having ripple effects far beyond the medical community and into the homes of Canadians living with autism. The Public Health Agency of Canada says the prevalence of autism in children up to 17 years old is 2%. That represents thousands of families across the country. CTV's Adrian Gobriel spoke to some of those families and how they are reacting to this story.
When young Luca was just 3 years old, his mother, Christina Kalura, received confirmation of what she already suspected.
My thought process automatically turned to not what he can't do, but what he can do.
The medical claim being made by the Trump administration has left her fuming.
I'm literally shaking as I'm talking about it because it's so scary to think that we're now going to be creating a stigma against moms.
What type of stigma do you believe a mother such as yourself could now be facing?
What did you do when you were pregnant to cause, and I can't even say it, cause your child to have autism?
Kalura isn't alone.
When I was pregnant with my daughter, who is on the spectrum, I didn't take any medication at that time, so there was no Tylenol in the mix, and she's autistic.
Alina Cameron's daughter, Fiona, is 10 years old. Cameron is the president of the Ontario Autism Coalition. She's also an epidemiologist.
There's been language coming out of the United States recently that is very troubling to the larger autism community here in Canada.
This study, released by the American Medical Association journal JAMA, investigated the use of antihistamine during pregnancy and children's risk of autism, ADHD, and intellectual disability among nearly 2.5 million children in Sweden. It found that antihistamine use during pregnancy was not associated with children's risk of autism, ADHD, or intellectual disability in sibling-controlled analysis.
The overwhelming consensus is that Tylenol is safe during pregnancy. It is probably the safer alternative. Tylenol is probably safer than many of the other over-the-counter medications like Advil and ibuprofen.
For Kalura, she's trying to take the day's news from south of the border in stride.
Our main focus should be on the supports and the therapies and supporting our children of all needs and abilities.
Christina Kalura asked that we share this quote in hopes that it might help other Canadian families who are struggling today. She says, "Autism is a journey I never expected, but I sure do love my tour guide." Adrian Gobriel, CTV News.
Loud banging and desperate pleas to stop. A chilling moment recalled by a witness on the stand today at Brian Marbury's trial. Marbury, accused of killing Sarah Boulay, who disappeared last May, was linked to the disturbing sounds heard from the room above. CTV's Bob Belichico has more on the testimony from Superior Court.
Sarah Hamid testified via Zoom today from the UK. She and the court saw security video of the night in May of 2023 when she reported concerning behavior in the room above hers at a local motel. A 2-minute stretch shows her walking from her street-level room at 1 in the morning on May 27, 2023, to the reception office. She looks over her shoulders at one point, citing concern for what was happening. Hamid says she and her husband heard noises for about an hour. Quote, "A lot of banging around," is how she described the noise. She also heard, quote, "Stop it, you're hurting me." Asked how many times she heard the pleas, Hamid said, quote, "It was very many. I didn't count." Hamid walked to the office to speak with the owner of the Huron Church Motel. The owner then visited the room shortly thereafter. Hamid testified hearing the exchange, which included numerous expletives. During cross-examination, defense lawyer Ken Marley took Hamid to task on the intensity of that exchange after the owner testified his conversation with Marbury was friendly. He also questioned why she waited almost an hour to report the incident, suggesting she could have called 911 or Windsor Police instead of walking to the front desk. Later this afternoon, Hamid's husband testified via Zoom, describing a different situation. He described hearing a woman screaming and a man shouting. Quote, "It sounded to me like the man was belting the crap out of the woman." He continued by saying, quote, "The man was shouting, the woman was screaming in pain." After the noise stopped, he testified that he and his wife went to bed, quote, satisfied the owner had solved the problem. During cross-examination, Marley pointed out Scanlon noted shouting and screaming while his wife described a soft female voice. He doubled down on Scanlon for not taking action by calling authorities during what seemed to be an emergency. A new witness is expected to take the stand Tuesday. In Windsor, Bob Belichico, CTV News.
Jimmy Kimmel is back. The late-night TV show host will be back on the air tomorrow. Comes nearly a week after his controversial suspension by ABC and its parent company, Disney, due to his comments about the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. The network announced today that the show would return on Tuesday. Kimmel faced backlash for his remarks, leading major affiliates like Nexstar and Sinclair to pull his show. President Trump celebrated the suspension. Kimmel expressed concern about potential government crackdowns on comedians. The Trump administration and China have reached a deal on TikTok to keep the popular social media platform turned on in the U.S. White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt says they're 100% confident a deal is done and just needs to be signed in the coming days. Leavitt says the new agreement will allow the U.S. to control TikTok's algorithm and data. She says 6 Americans will sit on the 7-seat board, meaning TikTok will be majority owned by Americans in the U.S. And Instagram is rolling out a new AI tool targeting teens in Canada who registered with adult accounts. The social media giant says the technology will identify accounts it suspects belongs to teens, even if they list an adult birthday. The AI model will be trained on information including the dates accounts were created and interactions they have with other profiles and content. If Instagram suspects a teen of trying to deceive the company with an adult birthday, the platform will be placed in the use of a teen account.
Hi, I'm Jason Peffer, Business Manager of UA Local 527, Southwestern Ontario. At the UA, we believe if you have the opportunity to help someone, you have the obligation to do so. And that's what we do at Local 527. Our members work in the auto industry, manufacturing, nuclear power plants, schools, and hospitals in your community, just to name a few. When people ask me, what are the advantages of joining the UA versus being independent? Typically within the union, there are higher wages, better benefits, better pension, and greater opportunity with an organization that has your back. Working in the trades is not for everyone, but if you think you have what it takes, both physically and mentally, it can become a very rewarding career. If you'd like to join Local 527, go to ua527.com.
The Trades, brought to you by UA Local 527.
Big moves in tech helped propel markets higher on both sides of the border. In Toronto, the TSX gained 191 points. In New York, the Dow added 66. The Nasdaq is up 158. The Canadian dollar dropped 0.15 of a cent today. On commodity markets, gold gained more than $69 an ounce and oil 12 cents a barrel.
The next decade is going to, I believe, see the breakthroughs in delivering treatment.
New ways to detect and prevent Alzheimer's earlier as the fight against dementia escalates.
Let's look at our CTV News weather snapshot. Thanks to Diane Bedard for this image. Do you have a weather image that could be our next snapshot? Text it to 10400. Just ahead, stormy weather tonight, perhaps even cooler temperatures later this week. Fall is here. What you should know weather-wise. Next on CTV News Windsor.
Discussion here at Windsor City Hall.
Windsor's top stories.
A major project is about to get underway.
Breaking news alerts.
Severe weather is a possibility.
And watch live.
Good evening and thank you for joining us.
Download the CTV News app.
More now on the rain and thunderstorms we experienced earlier today. Gary joins us now from the Weather Center. Gary, very dark at some points today.
Dark today, surprising to see rain. Thought we weren't going to see it ever again. I'm kidding, of course, but the pattern has changed just in time. It would be that today at 2:19 Eastern Daylight Time, we switched over. Calendar-wise, we are now in the fall season of 2025. Today was still slightly above seasonal, 23.4 degrees Celsius. Our average high is closer to 21. We got into some wet weather around 11 a.m., passing showers, and even some light thunderstorm activity. The air quality, not bad. The lower the number on a scale of 1 to 10, the better. We're at a 3 right now and have been throughout much of the day. It's been cloudy, gray, and a bit windy. We're holding at between 23.5 and 23.6 at the airport. It's been rounded up to 24, 23 in Chatham, Canada. So between 73 and 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Cloudy, and with the relative humidity near 85, 90%. When it was raining, it was much higher than that. It has felt between 28 and 30. In fact, the humidex at the airport is 30 in Windsor, and the weather station in Chatham, Kent showing 29. It is cooler in northern Ontario, but they're dealing with some rain. A separate system in Thunder Bay and Dryden is 19. Still warm in Winnipeg, up to 25, close to 26, and cooler across the western prairies from there into Saskatchewan and Alberta. Looking at wind gusts in that 30 to 40 range through 10 o'clock. So it's a breezy night, a wet one at times, and overall gray. We are cloudy tonight, tomorrow. The southwesterly flow. We talk about winds and wind profiles from whence they came. So from southwest to northeast, that trajectory, that's a southwesterly wind profile, and that's where that southerly flow and that training effect of rain showers and cloud has come from and will continue through the overnight. We'll get a secondary system moving in Tuesday night into Wednesday, so keep the umbrellas nearby. Wet today, wet tomorrow, especially in the morning. Wet again on Wednesday and possibly even Thursday. Here's the breakdown for tonight. I'm not anticipating a widespread breakout of thunderstorm activity, just some light rumbles in the atmosphere as we head towards 19 at midnight and an overnight before dawn of about 17. Let's take a look at our Enercare Siles 7-day forecast. And we're looking at 24 degrees followed by 21, 22 rain showers possible Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then sunny for the weekend. Temperatures stay in the mid-20s. That's a look at our 7-day forecast.
Lifetime, brought to you by Safeguard Medical Alert Systems.
The province is preparing to begin its fall vaccine rollout as COVID-19 cases trend up across Canada. Over the coming days, COVID shots will be shipped to hospitals, long-term care homes, and other congregate settings. This will be followed by flu shots on the week of September 29th. Other people in high risk and priority groups, including people over the age of 65, will be able to access the shots from primary care providers as supply becomes available. The public will then be able to get the shots starting October 27th. Yesterday marked World Alzheimer's Day, aimed at drawing attention to the growing number of dementia cases. CTV's Kimmel has more on the creative ways health professionals are trying to limit memory loss.
How much is that dog?
It may not look like it, but what you see here is David Estrin and his daughter Simone fighting back against dementia.
How much is that doggy in the window?
Arf, arf.
With what they enjoy most, music.
That looks like something I made.
And art.
Looks like someone I know.
I grew up singing in different places.
We've been able to take art classes together. You've been going to choir.
Becoming a more common way to help people living with Alzheimer's, sparking memories and feelings.
It provides stimulation. It's really been shown to improve people's moods, help relieve stress.
During the last couple of shots
here at the Health Sciences Center in Toronto, they're learning new ways to detect and prevent Alzheimer's earlier.
The next decade is going to, I believe, see the breakthroughs in delivering treatment.
And that's good news because in the next decade, they're expecting thousands of more patients across the country.
So we're talking about staggering numbers in Canada.
Right now, there's roughly 750,000 people in Canada with dementia. That's according to the Alzheimer's Society of Canada. By 2030, that's set to increase to nearly 1 million people. And by 2050, more than 1.7 million Canadians will have dementia. But whether Canada's healthcare sector is ready is another question.
The main way to avoid this tsunami of dementia is to spend the dollars now to develop research on prevention and treatment so we don't have to treat those patients in 5, 10, 15 years.
For this father-daughter duo, they're working with what they have to keep David's mind as sharp for as long as possible.
My dad gives me hope. I mean, seeing how you're handling everything.
I do hope.
In hopes treatment options can catch up.
Oh, that was beautiful, Dad.
To save him.
Yeah.
Kimmel, CTV News, Toronto.
The Blue Jays celebration spills into the locker room with everyone popping a bottle of champagne. That's coming up on Windsor's News Leader.
5K a day is back on 93.9
Virgin Radio.
Listen to Hannah and Johnny in the morning for your chance to win $5,000
Every weekday.
5K a day.
Virgin Radio.
The Every Child Matters flag was hoisted this morning outside of the Greater Essex County District School Board building in downtown Windsor. Along with the flag raising, there was a drumming demonstration and a smudging ceremony. The flag will fly not just at the board office, but also every school within the board. September 30th is the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. The day is a federal holiday and is intended to recognize the legacy of the residential school system in Canada. Former friends and co-workers of Buzz Hargrove gathered this weekend to remember the late Labour titan.
He was one of the persons that you could actually sit down and talk to, and he would listen to you and basically not say that he would agree with you, but he'd listen to what you had to say.
A memorial service was held at Unifor 444 and 200. Hargrove died in June at the age of 81. He's remembered as a tough negotiator who was well respected by workers and companies. In the 80s, Hargrove helped spearhead the start of the Canadian Auto Workers Union.
He opened up the opportunities and he said, there's a lot of people out there, whether it be workers of color, it'd be women, it'd be LGBTQ people. There's a lot of people with good ideas and good energy. And he did go that way. He'd done all that before it became the popular thing to do.
The Windsor Symphony Orchestra opened its new season without the presence of its longtime leader. In its first show since the passing of Maestro Robert Franz, the musicians paid tribute in the most meaningful way they knew.
Robert had a passion for music education and outreach, leaving a legacy for generations of music lovers to come. Robert, we miss you. We thank you for giving us so many years of joy through your work.
We're playing the first move of Holberg Suite, which was one of Robert's favorite pieces, and his photo will be looking over us on the screen, and he'll definitely be with us even more so at those moments. Robert and I were very, very close friends and colleagues, and we feel his spirit here, and it's important for us to continue the fantastic tradition and legacy that he started here. So it's exciting for me to be back with the orchestra and just know that we can continue what he started.
Many of Windsor's busiest streets are shut down on Sunday, or at least they were not accessible to vehicular traffic.
I don't hope you know, stay with us.
The city hosted the annual Open Streets Windsor across 8 different hubs, an 8-kilometer car-free route stretched from Ford City to Sandwich Town. This marked a return to the Central West route after hosting an Open Streets East edition in 2024. Residents who came out say that Windsor needs more opportunities for pedestrians.
It wouldn't be fun, and we wouldn't have the opportunity to find little vintage stores and little, you know, places that we don't see when we're driving to somewhere.
A new report from the World Wildlife Fund says the future of Canada's wildlife is at risk. The fund's Living Planet report found more than half of the species it studied are decreasing in abundance. The biggest declines were seen in grassland habitats, where wildlife population declined by 62% on average since 1970. In forests, mammal populations declined by 42% over the last 5 decades. Across Canada, animals on the list of threatened species saw their populations decline by an average of 43%.
Those habitats in many parts of the southern part of the country, where many of our species of risk are found, they need investment in restoration, broad-scale restoration in our grasslands, in our forests, in our wetlands. And in so doing, that has both benefit for species like those found in the report, but as well in terms of our action on climate change. And so for me, that is the single greatest opportunity in front of us in terms of bringing people on the land, restoring those important areas, and the potential in terms that might also have in advancing a new conservation economy in Canada.
Overall, the World Wildlife Fund Canada says every species group, including in this study, is trending in the wrong direction. Do you have thoughts or comments on a story? Send us a text. You can text us or send photos and video at 10400.
Would you text your ex for $10,000? 89X is back. Listen for the keywords and text your ex. It's never been more rewarding to get back with your ex. Only on Windsor's Alternative, 89X.
This is your CTV Windsor Hour Community Calendar. Join us on Sunday, October the 5th, to unite with people in Canada who are dedicated to changing the future of breast cancer. Sign up to support all people in Canada impacted by breast cancer. See you next time on Our Community.
It's time to check in on what's happening now with Melanie Kentner. And Melanie, you have an update tonight on Premier Doug Ford's his feelings about speed cameras.
That's right, Stephanie. He said again today they don't slow people down. He's even offering money to come up with other solutions. But the rollout of speed cameras is planned for 5 school zones in Windsor this December. Fines in these zones are doubled. Signs have been posted in advance to notify drivers. However, Ford says he'll have an announcement later this week on other traffic calming methods.
Really, the strategy is to slow people down. We're going to be giving municipalities across the province a lot of money to put in all sorts of street calming methods, from the little turnabouts, from speed bumps to flashing signs, and that's going to slow people down.
We've got more on his strategies online at ctvnewswindsor.ca.
And we also have an online story of note, Melanie, about a series of retail thefts.
Yes, that's right. Windsor police say a man stole from the same business 7 times. The first theft was reported on April 12th at a store on Huron Church Road. The man allegedly returned to the same location 6 more times over 3 months and took items without attempting to pay. He's described as a white man about 60 to 75 years old with gray hair. Anyone with information can call police or Crime Stoppers. And in your social spotlight, gotta love the Blue Jays celebration after the team officially punches their ticket to the postseason.
This is one to celebrate. Let's go.
Wow, that's a lot of champagne. The Jays beat the Royals yesterday, becoming the first team in the American League to secure a spot in the playoffs. One of the players even got a whole bottle dumped down his back, Stephanie.
I can't even imagine being there in that moment with everyone celebrating. I must say these teams have learned over time to get those goggles and, of course, to have them sponsored to make some extra money. But, yeah, it looks like a great time, and congratulations.
Yeah, I think that we're very prepared for that.
Oh, for sure. Okay, so if someone wants to send in a trending video, how can they do that?
That's right. They can email us to newsnow@bellmedia.ca or text it to 10400.
Live OHL action shows a collapse behind the bench. When we return, the safety glass at the Spitfires rink falls on the opposing coach.
The latest news to start your day.
Interviews, conversations with the top officials, the difference makers, and personalities in Windsor-Essex.
Only on Windsor-Essex #1 morning show.
It's Mornings with Mike and Meg on AM 800.
It was quite windy out there today. I thought so.
Well, gray skies, colors changing, obviously. Autumn is officially here. I'm so excited. I'm really jumping up for joy inside. You just can't see it. A couple of things to point out. Temperatures are cooler, yes. We're still slightly above seasonal for the next couple of days. The worst case scenario is we could get into some thunderstorm activity through the overnight. Might keep you up. I don't anticipate severe thunderstorms with tremendous rainfall or very strong gusty winds, but it'll be breezy. Some more showers Wednesday, Thursday. The average temperature this week through Friday is about 22.5 degrees Celsius, and that would be a degree above seasonal. So we are going to cool off, but gradually so.
Okay, as expected.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Gary. Michelle, a very exciting update to a story we first brought our viewers last week.
Yeah, you're right. I'm excited to see this story as well. Stefanie, World War II veteran William Shea is back in Ontario after being left stranded in BC. The 100-year-old fell ill during a vacation and unable to take a flight. Veterans Affairs refused to cover the cost of an air ambulance. Tonight, we'll share how a mysterious donor helped to bring him back home. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing this story tonight.
Our community is so known for giving back, and this is just one example.
Another great example of it.
Exactly. Okay, and we end tonight with an incident Saturday night at the WFCU Centre. A fan's banging on the glass during the game between Windsor and London turned dangerous. Take a look at this. This is a video from the OHL live stream. Shows the safety glass shattering and the glass in a section of the board behind the Knights bench falling across the bench. Most of it landing on the Knights co-owner and head coach Dale Hunter, some of it hitting another player. Thankfully, no one was seriously hurt, but as you can see, Hunter took the brunt of it, the glass landing on his back. The culprit, likely the fan wearing bright red, banging on the glass, who appears to fall forward as it collapses. It does look, I'm surprised that no one got injured in this case.
I agree. I've been at hockey rinks and actually at WFCU when a glass has broken. I've never seen it shatter quite like that. They usually kind of do that ripple spider effect. But
for the safety glass, right? It's named that for a reason.
Can you imagine you're watching the game and all of a sudden you hear that commotion behind you? Yeah, you're right. It's lucky no one was injured.
He's going to have to write a big check.
Well, on behalf of our dedicated team here at CTV News Windsor, thank you for watching.
For updates throughout the evening, go to ctvnewswindsor.ca.
I'll be back with your only late local newscast tonight at 11.
Good night.
Good night.